The information provided on this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your qualified health provider with any questions you may have. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. Reliance on any information provided here is solely at your own risk.
Welcome. This is Birth, Baby. Your hosts are Sierra Morgan and Samantha Kelly. Sierra is a birth doula, hypnobirthing educator, and pediatric sleep consultant.
Samantha is a birth doula, childbirth educator, and lactation counselor. Join us as we guide you through your options for your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum journey. Thank you to our listeners for your continued support. If you enjoy our content, please be sure to like, follow, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. This helps us gain visibility to other people that could benefit from listening in.
All right, friends, we are back with Kim. She shared her surrogacy journeys last week. And this week, she's going to tell us about how foster care came into her life in the midst of those surrogacy journeys and afterwards. So tell us what led you to foster care, Kim?
So honestly, it was some commercial on TV that was like, could you be a foster parent? Like, there's children in need. Like, it was something, late at night, my husband and I were watching the show and there was a commercial and we were like, gosh, just so naive, like had no idea. We were like, oh, we have flexible schedules. We could, our youngest biological, child at the time, he was like old, he was like 7. So he was like, he can shower himself, he can brush his own teeth, it's like we could help out, and we ended up going to like a foster care training, like a local training, and then realized that wasn't a good fit, that foster care agency wasn't a good fit for us. And so we kind of took a year off to kind of like think about things, and we revisited it again in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, okay, we're going to do this. Like, we had not researched anything of the kind of trauma that we'd be encountering. Nothing prepared us. We were just so naive. We were like, this is so great. We can like hold babies and then help them and then their parents and give them back to their parents. And,
maybe that's a little bit better sometimes going in rather than having all the information going in a little blind.
100%. That's probably why they aren't so forthcoming with everything.
And with that first agency, what were the like sort of things that you were seeing that made you feel like it wasn't a great fit for you?
I don't know. It was a lot. I feel like there wasn't a lot of transparency. It was kind of like, submit these documents. And I don't know. I just felt very off. Yeah. No, not a lot of communication. It just felt weird. So
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good for people to hear, knowing that you can go find something different if it doesn't feel like the right situation for you.
Sure.
Okay. So you found the second agency a few years later and dove in, and what happened?
Yeah, we dove in headfirst. We were going to do this, and it's tons of training and paperwork and you have to make sure immunizations are done. Like, it's all these things. And we knocked it out in like 3 weeks, which is unheard of. But we were every day, all day doing the trainings and everything we needed to do. We both worked from home and were able to fit that kind of in our schedule. And we were licensed in 3 weeks, and we got a phone call just like 2 weeks after our license for siblings, a 2-month-old and an 11-month-old and a 2-month-old brother and sister.
Oh my goodness.
And we're like, okay, we took them, and they were with us for about a month, and then their grandma stepped up, and they were able to go with grandma.
Okay.
And our next placement was just the next week, and it was a newborn from the hospital, and then her 3-year-old brother. And so we went to the hospital and picked up this tiny little 5 pounds. She was medically fragile because she had been exposed to drugs in utero, and picked up picked the two of them up at the hospital and brought them home. And wow, we were like, oh, okay, because the 3-year-old had a lot of behaviors and a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, this is the hard. It's not just cuddling babies and like, bringing them to visit with their parents. It was like, there's a lot of hard stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it. Wow. How did your kids at home adjust to all of that happening in their house?
It was, they loved it because they all love kids. Like they loved helping and things, but it was really difficult when they started to kind of understand what had happened to the 3-year-old. He had been through a lot. And when they age appropriately could understand what had happened to him and maybe why he was having these behaviors, it was hard for them. It was a lot. He, the CPS ended up moving him to another home. And then from then on, we realized that we were a better fit to only take newborns.
Okay.
So we had 14 foster children, mainly the newborns, over the 8 years that we were licensed to foster.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. 14 newborns. And how on average, how long did you have those babies in your home?
Well, 5 of them stayed forever. We adopted.
Wow.
Yeah. So that newborn baby that came home from the hospital with her 3-year-old brother, she is our daughter, Hope. She is 8 years old.
Wow.
4 months after she was placed in our home, we got a call about another newborn girl. And would we take her? And we said yes. And so the girls are exactly 4 months apart. We call them our twins, not twins, because they're born on the 16th even. And we ended up taking her as placement, and rights got terminated for both of those parents. Unfortunately, their parents just weren't able to do what they needed to do. And CPS came to us and said, would you guys like to adopt? And we were like, what? Like, we didn't even know that was an option. It was like, we weren't planning on adopting. We didn't, but my husband and I looked at each other like, well, yeah, we got them. We took them home from the hospital. The girls were around 18 months ish, but in that span, we've had them for a year and a half. They're our daughters, And so we agreed to adopt. We adopted the girls just a month apart. And I was pregnant with a surrogate baby that I was almost due with right around the time of the adoptions. And it was a joke, like, who's going to become a new parent first? Like, my intended parents of the surrogate baby, or were we going to adopt and become parents of these girls first? So we ended up adopting first. So I was huge and pregnant at our adoption ceremony. The judge was very confused. Like, you're adopting these two 18-month-olds. You're pregnant. Like, what is happening? So that was kind of story time for the judge. But we ended up adopting the girls, and then got a call just the next month that the birth mom was pregnant again of one of the girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we, and I forgot to mention, we also had a short-term placement placed with us. He was going to go live with a relative, but it was a 3-week, or actually he was about a month-old baby. Could we just watch him for a couple weeks? And we said, of course, because we were going to close our home after we adopted the girls, because we weren't planning on adding to our family. Yeah. Going to hang up our foster care license. But we agreed to take this baby, and it was short-term. And, anyway, he's now our 7-year-old son. He never left. Our adoption photos from that adoption are our 2 girls, little baby in the baby carrier that, thank God our photographer was like, let's get pictures of him too, because it's our son now. But at the time we were thinking he would be going to a family, but now we have photos of him too. And then I'm big and pregnant. So it's just a whole hodgepodge of things happening in our.
Wow.
But yeah, so we, birth mom of one of the girls got pregnant again. We have a close relationship with most of the biological family of our adopted children. And so we stayed in contact with her. I was actually her support in the hospital when she gave birth. So I got to see the baby brother, Hope's baby brother being born right there, front and center. He, unfortunately, CPS had to get involved again because of prenatal drug exposure. Anyways, but we took him in and fostered him. So we had 4 kids under age 4 in our home.
Wow.
Plus our older kids,
4 older kids.
Yeah, they were a couple were in college by then, but we had the 4 under 4. And then a year after that baby was born, we got another phone call from CPS that our other daughter that we had adopted, the one that's like our twins, not twins, that birth mom had just had a baby last night. We have to place her in foster care. Can you please take her?
Oh my gosh. And were you closed at that point?
We had not closed our license because we hadn't consummated the adoption. So there was still 2 open CPS cases on the other side. Those that are now our sons. So no, we still had our license, and they'd like to keep siblings together. They think it's important. We really feel like it's important to keep biological connections. And so we said, of course, we couldn't say no. Just a year before, we had said yes to our other daughter's brother, and we said, of course we will. And so then we had 5 babies.
And how far apart are all these babies then?
A year. So they were newborn 1, 2, and then 2 3-year-olds. They're just stair-stepped.
Wow.
Yeah. And in between then, I did decide to carry again as a surrogate. And so literally people would stop us in public, do you understand how babies are made, right? Because I'm pregnant, I've got all these kids, we're we understand. And, but my husband would always mess with people we have no idea who their fathers are because we don't. So he just will just kind of look at you as you walk off
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that is how we added. So we added 5 children to our family. And so now we have 9 children.
Wow. What an amazing journey. Just making families all over the place in so many different ways. That's just truly amazing.
Thank you. It's been pretty awesome to be, a part of it all. It hasn't, especially with our foster care and adoption journeys, it wasn't always easy. And
yeah,
it's still not. We've got, 5 at the elementary school and currently in 1 at the high school. So yeah, we're busy. But it's been really awesome, and they're just amazing children. So.
Oh, that's so awesome. So you still have relationships with it sounds like the majority of the biological families. How does all of that work navigating that? I mean, I guess so 2, it's 3 different family units, I guess. So it's not a crazy amount to juggle, but still a lot.
It's a lot. Our two of the siblings have the same, obviously birth mom, but same birth dad also. Because it was important for us to make sure we tested, got genetic, testing on all of them. So we think it's important for them to know their ethnicity and things like that, so we could raise them appropriately and let them know, So they have the same birth mom and dad, and it's their mom is still in active addiction. And so it's difficult at best but we have a wonderful relationship with their maternal grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to her several times a week. And she's just amazing. And so the kids have a close relationship with her. And then our other daughter, the other 2 daughters that are sisters, mm-hmm. they have different fathers, but we have a relationship with one of the birth fathers, and then that grandma. Unfortunately, the birth mother is incarcerated, but I'm able to communicate with her on a monthly basis. And so we're hoping that when she's able, that we can still have that relationship with her. Yeah. And then there's so many grandparents and aunts and uncles, and we just feel really, and older siblings. Some of them have even older siblings that are one or with another family. We're not able to talk to them. That adoptive family won't allow us to talk to those boys. But there's one of the fathers has his 3 children, and we see them every couple months. It's just one giant family. So we feel really lucky in that aspect that these kids can have so many connections and so many people that love them.
Yeah. And the first that had the 3-year-old brother, are you able to still connect with them as well too?
So that is probably the most amazing thing in all of this is their mom is one of my very best friends now.
Oh my gosh.
We met that day. CPS made, he had to move placements. It was for kind of a safety issue. So I met her at a gas station parking lot, like 9 p.m. one night. And that's how we met. And all these years, 8 years-ish later, she's one of my best friends. We actually, a couple of years ago, moved school districts and built a house literally like a mile away from where they live so that our kids could so my two and then her son, because she had ended up adopting him, the little boy. So now they're all raised and they're going to school together and in the same school district. So it's been pretty amazing how that, God kind of orchestrated all that, because so and it was what was best for the kids at the time, but it's also now they still get to know each other and see each other and be raised kind of together. So it's been a really amazing relationship.
That's just miraculous. Like how amazing that was able to work out that way. That's so great. You hear so many stories of kids who don't get that. And so it's great that yours get to keep that bond.
Yeah, we feel so too.
Yeah. So, as we've talked about in these 3 episodes, you've had just a myriad of experiences. So if we have listeners who are wanting to explore a surrogacy journey or a foster journey or a foster to adopt journey, what would you recommend for them?
Definitely research as much as you can. Try to find
Don't go in with your eyes closed.
Yes. Although with the foster care, I do feel like there was things that I wish I could unlearn, right, or never see and just not know about, But I do feel like it's important to know because I feel like so many people go into foster care and then are like, whoa, like I didn't sign up for this. And then disrupting placements, I feel like is really, these kids are already not with their biological family for whatever reason. It's already a lot. So I do feel like really figure out, what's going to be a good fit for you. And then, surrogacy is just a wonderful thing. I feel like on both sides, right? If you need to turn to that avenue to add to your family, it's such a viable way to be able to do that. And then for people that had easy births and love being pregnant like me, it was just an amazing gift to be able to be involved in it.
That's so great. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. And if you have any resources that you would like to share with our listeners, we'll make sure we link those in the show notes. If someone is wanting to connect with you in any way, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can email me. It's kim@creativityandconnection.com. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or guide you in the right direction or anything anybody has questions about.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing all of this with us. I think this is going to be such an important story for our listeners to hear. There's just so much to this that I think a lot of people haven't thought about. And I love that we get to share this perspective.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on Birth, Baby. Thanks again to Longing for Orpheus for our music. You can look him up on Spotify. Remember to leave a review, share, and follow wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week.